episode 200 of the Cozy Corner of Cinema. This is being recorded on Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Not going to waste any time on this one. We have the 10 Best Picture nominations right here, joined by, do you want me to say your name?
Yeah.
Joined by
Marissa.
my girlfriend Marissa.
Your girlfriend.
I've seen all of these. The only one you haven't seen is The Secret Agent. So we're gonna go back and forth, talk about these damn films, talk about the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs, all that stuff here. So, yeah, I'm going based off memory on a lot of these because I don't have any kind of notes written, and neither do you.
Yeah, I don't have a very good memory, so I'm warning everyone listening. I might not really know what I'm talking about, but
it's all good.
It's okay.
No one's listening anyways. But we're gonna talk about these damn movies. We got 10 of them. And yeah, I guess I don't really have any other kind of introduction or anything like that. So we'll start off. We're going in alphabetical order, by the way, as well. The ones listed on the Academy site. So we'll go alphabetical order. I'll kick off the first one. New film by Yorgos Lanthimos, which is Bugonia. Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Aidan Delbus. Surprised to see this nominated for Best Picture in a positive way. This was Yorgos has been kind of on a run these past couple of years, making films very consecutively. He did Poor Things a couple of years ago, which got a lot of discussion at the Academy Awards. Then did Kinds of Kindness pretty soon after the fact, and then Bugonia is his newest film. Yeah, no, great to see this get nominated. Emma Stone in the film. She plays this like the CEO or this executive of this kind of like fitness company. Jesse Plemons and his cousin are kind of conspiracy theorist sort of guys. They get into a plot where they kidnap her because they're convinced that she's an alien. And I guess so I don't talk too much. I mean, what do you think about the film? Were you the yay or nay on it?
I really enjoyed it. I think I went into it not really knowing what to expect because I think the trailer doesn't really indicate a lot about the plot. It kind of just gives you like the vibe of the film. So when they started talking about aliens, the whole time I was like wondering, is this going to be real or is he just imagining it? Which is, I guess, the whole idea of the film. But I liked Emma Stone's performance a lot, and I really liked. Do we do spoilers or?
I'd probably say no spoilers because all these films are still relatively new, and some of them, at least at the time of this recording, aren't available. I guess outside of theatrically. I know this. I mean, a couple of these have been released. I got the 4K of this, but I would say it'd be ambiguous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed the ending and the overall thesis of the film, which I can't really get into because it's kind of a spoiler, but. Everyone's performances were great, and there was definitely a couple of scenes that made my jaw drop.
It's interesting with this. I think this is definitely Yorgos is an interesting director because I think there was a point. I'm thinking of something like, did you ever see Dogtooth? I don't know if you ever saw that.
No.
Okay, he did the film Dogtooth, which I think is probably what might be most known for, and he has this certain tone that he kind of goes with where it's very dark comedy, and the comedy can be silly, but then it gets very dark. And he did he had the same sort of tone with the Lobster as well for part of that. With that was with Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz, Leah Seydoux in the film, and I noticed that at least with his last couple films with Poor Things and Kinds of Kindness, I don't think I've gotten as dark as his earlier stuff, but I noticed that with Bugonia, with a lesser filmmaker, I think trying to balance that tone of without getting too much into it. There's a lot to unpack with Jesse Plemons' character. There's another character that comes into the mix, this cop who he has his own kind of past with, and how that kind of meshes with the whole alien stuff going on, which, like I said before, is that I think with the lesser filmmaker, it'd be kind of tricky to balance that tone. I mean, if I had any kind of issue with the film, and it's not even really an issue, so to speak, I've heard some valid complaints about the tone in terms of the what leads to the ending and to the ending itself, which I think is valid. It didn't really bother me, per se.
I loved the tone.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing is that with Jesse Plemons' character, I think he's the one who, above all else, really has to anchor the whole film. I think he has such a great. All his mannerisms are great, and where the film goes to talking about how dark it gets. I would say it's probably his darkest since. I mean, The Killing of the Sacred Deer, I think, is dark, but I think has that sort of lighthearted tone. But this, I would say it's maybe his darkest since Dogtooth, even more so than The Lobster, but in terms of being consistent. But I mean, I think this is just a terrific film. Just great performances all across the board. The one kid, Aiden Delbus, who plays the cousin Don. I don't know if this is his first film or if this was... Yeah, it looks like it's his first film. He's great in the film. He has to hold a lot of the scenes on his own when Jesse Plemons' character kind of goes away. And he's fantastic in the film.
Yeah. Great addition.
He's solid, man. I also just love the way that Yorgos directs it. There's just some great... I mean, you can see it in the trailer if you haven't seen the film, but he has these great tracking shots of like Emma Stone's character walking towards the screen, or like this one shot that I love when Jesse Plemons' character like jumps across the table, and the camera camera pans across, and it all just looks great. And then when it gets violent, I mean, it's sort of like it all works in that tone I'm talking about before, where the violence ranges from brutal and uncomfortable, especially when the reveals in the third act, which is very dark, which I think works really well. But then some of the violence is very absurd and comical. There's one sequence in particular where an act of violence happens that is so extreme that it makes you laugh, or it made me laugh a lot. I don't know, I can't speak for it, but no, this was one. I mean, above all else, it was already a film I was riding high on. I'd seen this twice. I've seen this twice theatrically. And not a lot of film, only a couple films last year I did that too. Actually, another one we'll be talking about later, which is also a Best Picture nomination. But Yorgos is a filmmaker who he has yet to make anything that I just straight up don't like directed wise. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't love The Lobster. I don't love Poor Things, but there's a lot of really good things in both those films, no pun intended. But Bugonia, I think, right behind Sacred Deer, is probably my favorite film of his. I think. I can't stress enough the way he just balances the tone is just so well done, and I think the very end of the film, maybe the last like minute, kind of perfectly encapsulates him as what he's able to do of something just so dark, but then something so comedic as well. And I read a thing recently that saying he was going to take a break because he had done 3 consecutive films back to back. I mean, between this, Poor Things, and Kinds of Kindness, they all came out in a relatively short frame of time. Time frame. Thank you. Especially Poor Things and Kind of Kindness are over 2 hours. So this film is far more subdued. It's far more almost single location in a way. But if this is what he wants to take a break on, then I think, I'm just really eager to see what he does next, because I really, really love this film, and I think this is just one of the best films of the year.
Definitely agree.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Stavros/Stavi. I've watched some of his podcast episodes, and he's very funny. And I was pleased to see him in the film.
Yeah, he's the. How do you say his last name? Because I don't have a clue how to say it.
I forget.
Is it Halkies?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever heard it pronounced out loud.
Also, shout out to Alicia Silverstone as well, who has almost, I don't think has any dialogue in the film. And the first time I didn't even notice her. Also, I got to say as well, I think visually Yorgos is really great as well. I need to talk about some of the camera shots that he does, but there's one shot in particular where it's like almost this. I can't remember if it was it had to be a dream sequence, but a dream kind of mixed with a flashback and this really stark kind of black and white photography. And there's one shot in particular, which I don't think was in the trailer, and I don't remember. It doesn't really matter, but it's just really great. I don't know who the cinematographer is. I don't want to, whatever. The point is that the photography in his films is consistent to the point where I assume he's using the same kind of crew or the same kind of guys. I don't know, but either way, solid, really solid film. I really like this. Do you have anything else you want to say about it? And I think
I agree with everything you said, and I think I was just going to add that I really enjoyed the thrill of not knowing what direction they were going to take it in. I think that was a fun ride to be on.
Yeah, it's paced very well as well. I mean, because I even seeing this, the first time is all about the lead up of what the conclusion is going to be. And I would say, actually, if I had another maybe minor complaint, it's not a spoiler or anything, but I do wish there's a a little more ambiguity in terms of just some of the reveals. Not necessarily the reveal, whether or not, it is or isn't. Because ultimately that is a question of the film. Is she or is she not an alien? And I think not just that, but some of the other elements, because we're dealing with a character who is already mentally unwell, who's very, is into these conspiracy theories, is very out there as is, that, I can't really get into it too much, and spoiler wise, but either way, that's some minor kind of stuff right there. But yeah, excellent film overall. Just highlight of Yorgos' filmography as is, and I'm really eager to see what he does next. All right, so let me see. You know what? The page resets. Good lord! Oh my gosh, the Academy site is. Bear with me, people. I know I could pause it, but I'm not gonna because. Where did that list go? Oh my gosh, this is not good. This is not good radio for the people, man. Part of it is okay, let me pull this up here. So why don't you introduce the next one here, if I can pull it up. This is my first time using it with my iPad, so bear with me if this sounds very untechnical. Okay. All right, all yours. So I'll introduce the next one.
Next up, we have F1, the movie. This came out over the summer, I believe. It was a really fun kind of flick about a driver who's coming out of retirement, and he's going to mentor this younger driver. For me, it wasn't great. I think I remember being a bit bored, if I'm being honest, but it's also just not really my kind of movie. I tend to not go for car action, like racing drama kind of movies. I also don't really enjoy like sports films as much personally.
You like radio though. I mean, it's a sports film. I wouldn't trust him behind a car. Imagine that movie. Imagine they put radio in F1. Oh my gosh, that'd be bad.
I think it would have been a lot more
interesting. That'd be like Traces of Death or something. Oh my gosh. Don't put that. Well, isn't Snow Dogs? That's technically a racing movie, right? Cuba Gooding.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Did you see
I'll watch Snow Dogs anytime.
I got Snow Dogs mixed up with the one with Paul Walker. Is it 8? What is it called? 8? Not 8 Below. Is it 8 Below?
I was gonna say 8 Mile.
Yeah, it's 8 Mile. I remember there was the one with Paul Walker. Like we were watching as a kid in a hotel, and like all the dogs were getting like frozen to death. I'm like, this is a Disney movie.
What?
It's 8 something. So I'm not even gonna try to look it up right now. I can barely operate this iPad.
Yeah.
That ain't getting nominated for anything.
Yeah, my memory's not great, so I don't really remember Javier Bardem that much. Was he like the manager or something?
He was the one. Again, that's going off memory. We saw this in June, July. Yeah. This is, he was the one who is getting Brad Pitt back in the game. He says, "Come back, mentor. We need you on this team. Mentor this guy." I should also mention this is directed by Joseph Kosinski. And I think he's really, because he directed Top Gun Maverick last, and I think one of the things that really kind of stood out between Top Gun Maverick and this F1 is I think these are really, when people talk about the theatrical experience, I think these are films to see in an IMAX, in a Dolby, in a large format, because it's not just the POV photography of just, okay, you're in the seat of a car, you're in a jet. It's the way that they're able to balance kind of the excitement of it all, of a real kind of danger. There's one part in the film I like a lot where they have to race in the rain, and sort of, they're going however many miles an hour, and just the precautions on that, like the action scene, the action sequences alone, the racing sequences alone, I think are just really exceptional. I don't know what else he did before Top Gun Maverick. I think he did do Oblivion. He did Only the Brave, which I didn't see. So relatively recent. I mean, Oblivion was 2013. Well, I guess recent-ish. It did music videos, I think. I don't know. Either way, I think he's a really good action director,
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think the visuals did really stand out more than the plot for me. But the cinematography was really great. It was beautiful. It was exciting to watch. I will say that.
Yeah.
I don't really have much else to add on this one.
I think above all else, well, not above all else, because I like this quite a bit more than you did. If my problem with it, I think my big problem that comes to mind is I think, it's running at 2.5 hours, and it's not that it's boring, but I think the third act definitely does start to lose the story, because there's a point where it's like the pacing's really good, it's building up, and then we have this long sequence there in Vegas, and they're doing this whole thing, which that sequence itself is fine. I also got to mention Carrie Condon's in the film. I think she's a great actress. I always get her mixed up with Jodie Comer, I think is her name. She was in 28 Years Later. She's been in a bunch of stuff. I get those two actors mixed up all the time. Carrie Condon was in Banshees of Inisherin. She was the one that Barry Keoghan was interested in. But yeah, I would say the third act is where the plot kind of loses me a bit, because I think as well what he does well, not to repeat myself, with F1 and Top Gun Maverick is a good balance between interesting characters and these action sequences. Because I really like the back and forth that I'm not familiar with this actor, Damson Idris, who plays the character Josh Pierce, who's the new hotshot. And his back and forth with Brad Pitt is great. There's like one sequence in particular that really stands out in the movie is after they have like this big race and he's celebrating early, and Brad Pitt really sort of like publicly scolds him like that. Well, not publicly, but in open doors, kind of scolds him publicly. That stuff is solid. I think Javier Bardem's good in the film. And also, surprisingly enough, I think one of the big snubs that I was shocked that it didn't get nominated was the score of the film, because the beginning of the film, the panning into the racetrack, and then that F1 logo and the almost this 80s kind of score kind of kicks in. It's like, wow, man, I would have loved to have seen this in Dolby or in an IMAX, because that score was just ridiculous. I think it was is it Howard Shore who did the score for this? I don't know how to operate the IMDb app on my iPad. I feel like an old man trying to do this. Because on the website, it's all there. You got cast and crew right there. But this is just like, this is madness. No, I don't, oh my gosh. I'm going to spend as much time trying to operate this damn iPad. I'm not going to be able to find it. So I'm going to have to just guess. I don't even know is this guy in the movie? What the hell? Oh my gosh. There's no, oh, here we go. You have to scroll down. Composer, it was Hans Zimmer. Howard Shore. I got that completely wrong. Yeah, Hans Zimmer's score is fantastic. It's a very fun. This made my short list of the year. This wasn't on my top 50, but this was on my 25 of 25. I'd want to watch it again because, man, I had a lot of fun with it, but I think I kind of was with everybody else. I was very surprised to see us get a Best Picture nomination, and I don't know if that's because of the goodwill that Top Gun Maverick had when that got a Best Picture nomination, even though that came out when the theaters were opening back up still. So the options weren't as much there, whereas this year, I feel like there was still enough films to choose from. I mean, and I'm not, and whatever, things get snubbed, I really don't care. But I was surprised that, titles like It Was Just an Accident, the film I loved, or even another film that I wasn't in love with, No Other Choice. Some people love Park Chan. People were talking about that not being nominated for anything. So it was surprising that F1 got that. It's a quality film in its own right, and man, it's a great theatrical film. You're not going to get that on your home. I'm just thinking about Joe Schmo watching this on his damn telephone, man. And that's just crazy, man. That's just wild as all hell. But yeah, I really liked the film. I had a lot of fun with it. But yeah. I think that's all I really got to say about it.
I think for what it was supposed to be, they did it really well, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't for me, but they definitely did a good job with it in a way.
Yeah. And I should also say, I know with a lot of these Best Picture nominations, a lot of them are coming back to theaters temporarily. So if you have the opportunity, I think above all else to see this theatrically, I think that'll benefit. It's not the strongest of the picks, but I think overall it's going to be better to see this theatrically. I mean, even if you watch at home on like 4K, it's going to look great, it's going to sound great, but I'm saying if should you get the opportunity with a good sound system, a good big screen, I think you're really going to be in for a good time with this. I had a lot of fun with this. I also like, I like the genres IMDb lists: car action, motorsport, and then action drama sport. Car action. What would car action be? What, Smokey and the Bandit? What other films are we listing as car action? Fast and Furious, of course. Okay, I wouldn't even call Ford versus Ferrari car action. That was more a movie about cars that had some scenes of racing in it. The Bad Guys 2, I don't know. Was that car action? That's more like an animated film, but whatever. Anyways, getting off point here. Get off topic. Anyways, anything else to say about F1?
No.
All right, man.
That's it.
Let's move on here. Oh my gosh, It did it again. I really should just screenshot this and just come back to it. But, okay, here we go. Oh no, I got her here. Okay, new film from Guillermo del Toro. He's got his new adaptation his new film is adaptation of Frankenstein. We're in a period now where they're just grabbing all the Universal monsters. Because let's see, man, we had I know Nosferatu's whatever. Okay, we're gonna disregard that one. Actually, we got the new Dracula coming out with Christoph Waltz and Caleb Landry Jones. We had the Invisible Man that Blumhouse did. We had Wolfman that Blumhouse did. We got the Mummy that failed miserably. So now they're having a new one come out in April called Lee Cronin's The Mummy. So. I'm thinking about, I guess actually Del Toro basically did Creature from the Black Lagoon with The Shape of Water. I'm trying to think. I mean, Phantom of the Opera is sometimes. Oh, sorry, was it?
I didn't realize that was like his idea and that he was going for.
Yeah, I mean, just it was like a take on it, like an aquatic, because in his speech he was talking about Lon Chaney Jr. and all that, or not Lon Chaney Jr. I'm sorry. Well, actually, I think never mind, it doesn't matter. Anyways, the point is though, they're grabbing up all these monsters. I'm thinking, what are they gonna do next? Phantom of the Opera? I mean, is that really even a monster? I like how they group Phantom of the Opera with them. It's just a dude. It's just my man who's got a deformed face. That's not fair. They had the Invisible Man. They had the Invisible Man, which I didn't see, but apparently you saw, right?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
I don't care. I don't need to see it. I was told it's not even a man. It's just spoilers. It's just a suit. What the hell is that about? I don't know, Invisible Man. Oh, that's gonna get knocked over. Oh my gosh, the cats are knocking things over. Good Lord. Anyways, they want us to talk about Frankenstein. All right, Frankenstein. So yeah, Del Toro's new film. We have Oscar Isaac playing Frankenstein, and Jacob Elordi is playing the monster. Actually, funnily enough, talking about Christoph Waltz and Dracula, he's also in this. Now, I haven't read Frankenstein since high school, so I can't even tell you the exact difference. I'm not even going to tell you the plot of it. It's Frankenstein. I'm going to tell you. It's just told a different narrative kind of way. But what I do remember is that the story ain't that long. It's not a very complicated story. It's not a very long book. Now, I'm not going to dog in the film because you can see. I mean, Del Toro's a guy who you see the heart on screen. You see the passion that he has on screen. Del Toro is a guy who I wish I could get more into his films because besides Pan's Labyrinth and his Pinocchio he did a couple years ago, I thought was pretty good. A little too long. I've often had trouble connecting to his films. Like I like his remake of Nightmare Alley just totally missed for me. I just was like, man, this doesn't work at all for me. This is just, I mean, it looks great. I saw it in black and white, but even like Kronos doesn't work for me. Devil's Backbone, because his passion is there, and God bless him. He's making the film he wants to make. But with Frankenstein at this point, my main thing with this one, we're bloating it to 2.5 hours. We have these great actors. We have these lavish sets. We have these amazing effects, just to tell another Frankenstein story. And it's kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like, okay, do we change it up and try to do something different, then have it fail? Who knows? Or do we do the same thing and stay safe? We do that, so it's a double-edged sword. But it reminded me a lot of Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, which is I'm watching this, I'm sitting there, and I can't knock the filmmaking. I can't knock, it's just, great lighting, great set design, great special effects. Everyone's committed. That's all great. But I'm sitting there, and when the credits come up, I'm going, man, why make the movie? We've had 1 million Draculas, we've had 1 million Frankensteins. What about this is, as much as I may dog on, I haven't seen it yet. I'll see it. As much as I'm not particularly looking forward to The Bride, with a Maggie Gyllenhaal directed film. It doesn't look, I'll see it, but it doesn't look like whatever. At least I give him credit. They just did something different. I think it might be based off another film. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I'm like, at least that's doing something different. Whether or not that's good or bad, except for your discretion. But they're not just doing The Bride of Frankenstein again. This, I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of it. It looks great. Sounds great. I'm not crazy about some of the performances. I don't think Jacob Elordi is pretty miscast in this. I really don't like his performance in this. I'm sorry, I'm completely talking over you, honey. I'm not even letting you get a chance to speak. Here, I want you to say something, because I'm just ranting off now.
No, I think you made some valid points, especially about the whole concept of just focusing on these broad, like, monsters, such as Frankenstein and Dracula and things like that. I would say that the Frankenstein novel, is fairly short, but I think the story is long. There's a lot of different, I would say there's different seasons in the story. There's a lot of different parts, and I think they did a really good job with that. I personally really enjoyed it. Is it Best Picture worthy or Oscar worthy? I would say no. But I am a really big fan of Guillermo del Toro, especially The Shape of Water. That was one of like my favorite films possibly ever. Like if I had to make a big list, I'd probably put it on there. Um, Pan's Labyrinth obviously is a classic. I think a lot of people look at that. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job with it, and I enjoyed the costume design. I think I'm not sure who could have played the creature in this. If it wasn't Jacob Elordi, I'm not sure who I would have put in it. I have no idea because there's just so much makeup going on.
That makes you wonder though too. It's sort of like if they're gonna cover him in all this makeup, it's sort of like you could have just had anybody. You could have had somebody
Right.
who's like that's why it's like he's hidden behind all this like layered makeup that it's sort of like it doesn't really matter who you cast because it's sort of like if I didn't know it was Jacob Elordi, I couldn't tell you who it was. You know, it could have been Joe. It could have been the janitor, man. It could have been I don't know who.
Yeah.
So it's I know he's like a big actor right now. You know, he's in Saltburn and Priscilla and Wuthering Heights. But it was I just don't. Besides it being kind of like stunt casting, I don't really anybody I thought could have played that. He doesn't really have this demeanor like you'd have somebody. You have like somebody who would play like one of the actors who plays like Jason or something has like this really like kind of menacing demeanor. You know. That I don't think. No disrespect to Jacob Elordi, you know, but I just don't think he has that here.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Let me just here you go. Yeah, do your thing.
I also really liked David Bradley's performance as the blind man. I thought that's a really, I think that on this list of cast members, like that should be higher up because the blind man is a big part of the story.
Was the blind man in the book, or was that okay? Because I couldn't remember. Because I know because it's like I couldn't remember what they were taken from the book and then what they were taken from, like I guess the film of Bride of Frankenstein. Because they which is weird. They kind of introduced that and they don't go anywhere with it.
Yeah, from what I remember in the book, the blind man part of the story is a lot more brief. And I think it has something to do with him leaving out food for him, for the creature, Frankenstein.
He's leaving out Reese's Pieces like E.T.
Yeah, something like that. And he just remembers his kindness. But in the movie, they made that like a really big part of the plot, which was a little different. And there's also in the book, there's a part with a little girl who comes across the creature and is really kind to him, and they kind of understand each other in this unspoken way. And I was a little disappointed that they didn't include that in the story because I think that's also really important. But I think instead they kind of chose to focus on him on the ship. I don't even really remember him being on a ship in the book, but I read it so long ago.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't remember that either. That actually, I mean, I'm going back however many years now. I remember. I guess the one thing that I remembered from the book that the film did was having the monster actually talk, which is what a lot of versions haven't done. And I'm sure there's, you know, I haven't seen all the Frankenstein versions. I'm just saying, like, you know, the big popular ones. So that's a noticeable thing they did different because like, it was having read that book in high school, trying to imagine that. I would say that's one of the things that actually, in the film's favor, does translate well. I thought. I think in reading it, I couldn't really picture it, but on screen, I'm like, all right, this actually does work. Because he ends up like narrating part of the film because the film's divided. The film has two halves: there's Frankenstein's side and the monster side. And I was when I was sitting there watching, I was like, "How's this going to work?" But it actually ended up working pretty well in that regard. But I don't remember again how the book was structured. Not necessarily in two halves, but if it came back to the ship or if it came back to it being in the ice, I honestly don't remember, man. You know?
Yeah.
I could have done my research, but I didn't.
Yeah, I thought it was really great, but not really Best Picture worthy. Just something I enjoyed that I might watch again at some point.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I'd categorize it.
Yeah. No, it's Frankenstein. I mean, it's
Frank.
Franken. I don't know what to tell you.
It's Frankie.
It's now I don't remember if the ending is the same in the book or not, because I know the ending is different than previous versions here.
I really don't remember.
I don't think that was in the book, which I guess that is one spin on it, but then at the same time, it's like, well, what about the rest of the film? I think there's also might be some differences with Mia Goth's character with Elizabeth. I think someone mentioned that there were some differences there. I don't know. I don't remember what the context of the book was. It's Frankenstein, man. I don't have to tell you. It's
Frankie.
It's
Y'all ever seen Young Frankenstein?
Now
It's a
talk
good
about
one.
that's one that mix of the formula.
Yeah.
And did something different. That was a damn
That's a good
comedy.
one.
Yeah. R.I.P. Most of the actually that Mel Brooks documentary just came out on HBO. I gotta watch that.
There's no Igor in this movie, was there?
Was Igor? Oh, you know, it's funny.
Igor.
What? Well, there was also Renfield and Dracula. What's with these?
No, Renfield is like
Renfield's like
freaking, like comic book character or something.
no. Renfield was in. I don't know if he was in the book Dracula. He was in the film Dracula. But because Dracula, he like did his spell on him and made him like a madman.
Really?
I guess he wasn't like a hunchback. He was just kind of
Oh.
a crazy guy played by Dwight Fry.
I believe the movie was based off of comic books or something.
Dracula?
Or like a graphic novel. No, Renfield.
No, I'm not talking about the movie Renfield. I'm talking about the movie Dracula with Bela Lugosi.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the Renfield movie.
No, I ain't talking about the character Renfield is from Dracula. No, we ain't talking about Renfield. We have, the less said about that, the better.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. It's actually not that bad, but it's not very good.
Alright.
You ever see Renfield?
Yeah.
Did you?
Alright. It wasn't.
It's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a movie yeah, whatever. I'm not going to that. Anyways, we're only like 3 films in. We're already, good lord,
We're
half hour.
yapping.
Okay, what's next up on... Oh my gosh, I did it again. Did you introduce someone or did I? I already forgot.
That was yours, so now it's my turn.
Okay.
But we can really just be. It's a collaborative effort. Here.
Yeah, we'll at least give some sort of like introduction. But all right, so the next one up, I almost put the trailer. All yours. Let me pull up the page here. There you go.
All right, next up we have Hamnet, which came out a couple months ago, I believe. It's got Jesse Buckley and Paul Mescal in it, and they did a fantastic job in the movie. I've heard from many people that they fully sobbed watching this movie. I did not actually cry, although I felt like I could have. It was very, very tragic. I wouldn't say it was sad, it was tragic. It feels tragic. It feels like a tragedy. That's how I'd say.
It's a Shakespearean tragedy.
Yes. It's highly emotional. I thought it was really good. I think towards the end, for some reason the play was kind of confusing me. I didn't quite get what was happening with that because I'm not great with like Shakespeare language. So I was a little bit lost there, but overall I thought it was very good and definitely Best Picture nominee worthy. And that's
that.
what I'd say.
That's what I'd say. And I think, speaking of Frankenstein, that'd be cool if the monster showed up in this. You got Jessie Buckley in this. She's going to be in The Bride.
Yeah. The child could have...
The child, they could have brought that... well, I guess...
Oh.
I guess it's in the trailer. Don't worry about it. Anyways, yeah, Chloe Zhao directed. She's one of my favorite filmmakers. She's done Songs My Brother Taught Me, The Rider, which was my favorite film that year, Nomadland, which I loved. She won her Best Picture that year. I didn't see her Marvel movie. I was kind of curious to check it out just because it was her, but I know that was kind of like a paycheck thing. But yeah, Hamnet, what I like about this film compared to her previous films, that it has a lot of the same kind of naturalistic mannerisms as her earlier work that led into this. Because I noticed that from something like Songs My Brother Taught Me to this, if you look at the progression of Songs My Brother Taught Me to The Rider to Nomadland to this, it has, all of these films have that natural, the handheld photography and all, but between this and Nomadland, it feels a bit more structured. It feels a bit more like, well, the obvious being you're getting more professional actors. You're not getting first-time actors. Whereas in, her first 2 films, Songs My Brother Taught Me and The Rider, they're very more, being with these first-time actors, a very kind of fly-on-the-wall situation where, I like to see a filmmaker who can sort of hone in their style, but then also do something that's tweaked a bit. This was a highlight of not just the Best Picture nominees, but of the year overall. I mean, I think I just straight up love this film. I think Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal have been 2 actors that I've been a fan of for a while now. I think they've both done some really exceptional films. Paul Mescal especially, he did what, 2 films last year that made my favorites. So he did this and The History of Sound, both of which I loved. And the kid actors as well. There's one of the best sequences in the film is there's long sequence, very emotional sequence about a character basically choosing to I don't want to get too much into it, but basically making how do I want to say it without just getting into the whole thing, making a sacrifice in a way for another character, a very selfless sort of act, and the repercussions that causes. Yeah, it's a very emotional film without being melodramatic, without being very thematic, which is one of the things that I think when you have somebody like Chloe Zhao who is directing this can sort of, at this point in her career and her filmography, be able to hone these two in of a more, not even as an insult, but a more traditional kind of story, but then her style on top of it. And then the last 10, 15 minutes or so, I think is just one long, just brilliant sequence. I just think the performances across the board, Jesse Buckley, Paul Mescal, the kids are all great. I love the handheld photography in this. It's an incredibly romantic film. It's a very emotional film without delving into melodrama or Hollywood cliches. I think of a lesser filmmaker doing this kind of film, and I can see the film in my head of a big sweeping score and these very big, the characters have to yell their dialogue about these horrible things that have happened, but she's able to get these quieter, more somber, more I don't want to keep saying emotional, overused, but very heartfelt sequences. I think this is just a total highlight of the year, and I just love this film, man.
Yeah, I'd gun for this to be maybe Best Picture. I'd have to think about the other choices, but I definitely would put it high up on the list, I think.
I'm across the room, sorry. Turn up the heat. I'd want to watch this again because I've seen The Rider twice, and that one I loved even more in the second viewing. I have yet to revisit Nomadland again, and I'm curious about her Marvel movie. I don't, I'm just curious if it has any of her style in any part of it. I really don't know, but quality film. I'm going off memory here, so forgive me for not getting into specifics at the moment, but that's what I got to say about it.
I also just want to add, I think both actors have a real natural beauty to them, and they both look like real people, and that really added to the film and made it feel more realistic.
That's how I felt when I watched the trailer for The Bride. I was like, this feels natural. They should have had her direct that movie.
Supernatural.
Oh, hey-oh. Yeah, but what did Paul Mescal do? I could have sworn he did like 3 films last year. Maybe it was just those 2. I guess
one with the gay man.
No, I think that was a couple years ago. All the Strangers. Okay, so I guess it was.
No, The History of Sound. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, I forgot. He was gay in a different movie then.
Gay.
My bad. He's gay in all his movies. All these movies he's gay.
He's gay.
Oh my goodness. How many movies is he gay in? Not a lot. Actually, I think just those 2.
Side note, I watched an interview with Paul Mescal, and he talked to Brittany Broski about how he likes to play with swords in real life, and in Gladiator 2. He was in Gladiator 2.
How do you forget Gladiator 2?
Yeah.
You fell asleep during that movie. Oh my god.
Sucked.
The Gladiator 2 sucked. It was good, and then Pedro Pascal showed up, and I was like, all right.
And he said, "Ooh."
That's exactly what I said. Pedro Pascal, Paul Mescal, so those names 5 times fast. Mm-hmm. Denzel was there. You. Denzel was there too. Remember Denzel?
How could I forget Denzel?
How does that movie end?
Training Day.
No, I know. I'm not. All right. Anyways, moving on from there. All right. Next up, lost the list again. Did you introduce that one, or did I do that? I keep forgetting.
Introduced it, but I just didn't have much to say.
That's fine. I keep forgetting. Okay, so next up, news film from one half of the Safdie brothers, from Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme. Both the Safdies had films this year. Benny had The Smashing Machine. Josh had Marty Supreme. Not based off, I think, partially a real person, but not a true story. Marty Mauser, played by Timothy Chalamet, who has devoted himself to being a ping pong champion, and the problems that get in the way of him trying to go after his dream. He wants to go to Japan for this big kind of tournament. Well, not exactly a tournament. It's this big, it's a long story. Don't worry about it. Anyways, Josh Safdie directs. He's getting all these great reviews. People are loving it. I think you may have liked this film more than I did.
Yeah. Well, what would you rate it?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to give like an arbitrary kind of rating, man, because I'm very, there. I think I'm very indifferent, leaning towards negative. There's a lot I really don't like about this film, but I don't just want to dog it. I think I'm more disappointed that this is kind of the film I thought it would be, which is, well, I'll get into that in a minute, but I don't want to run over you if you want to say something about it.
I'm trying to remember what I said to you at the end, because I remember, like, when you asked what I thought, I had a really good way of putting it, which I kind of forgot about now, but I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if I can see why it would be nominated for Best Picture. I just don't know how high on my list it would be. I think that it kind of missed the mark because it was too chaotic and it kind of just felt like a mess. And there was also, I remember we both agreed, like, there's something always happening. They're always in the middle of some crazy, chaotic scene, and it just felt like kind of distracting, I think. I think if they had focused on more of, like, the core thesis of the movie instead of going off on a bunch of different tangents, it probably would have felt more cohesive overall. And it didn't feel cohesive. It just felt like I would compare it to listening to a jazz song. It's like there's just everybody's going off and doing their own thing, and it's crazy. Not in a good way. I also want to add that I'm kind of tired of seeing these movie plots where the person is a total asshole, but we're supposed to be, like, really excited about it. Like, he's awesome. Look what he did. He worked so hard. But it's like we're forgetting the fact that he just, like, screwed a bunch of people over along the way.
Well, I think that's one of the things, in terms of talking about my disappointment with the film, is that I think that I may have felt differently about the film, more positively, if I hadn't already seen and been a big fan of the two last films since Afterbirth did, Good Time and Uncut Gems. Because the problem, I think, with this film is that it follows too closely into those films. Because with all three of these films, we have an unlikable character who's just getting himself more and more into these bad situations, losing focus of the main goal. The difference with that is that with each film, it gets bigger and bigger. So at Good Time, you have Robert Pattinson's character, who plays a real dirtbag, but he's trying to do one good thing in the meanwhile screwing over these other people. It's an engaging film, and it's an exciting film, and it never, as much as it goes off on these tangents, it never really loses focus. Uncut Gems get a little bit bigger. We have, Adam Sandler's character is doing the sports betting. He's just getting himself, right off the bat, he's getting himself into a bad situation. He's taking money that isn't his. It's a whole big thing. And so with here, a lot of the same directorial and stylistic choices came through. And what I'm talking about with Hamnet and Chloe Zhao is that I think with that film and her, she can take her stylistic and artistic choices and blend them into something new and interesting. I remember sitting in the theater, and 15 minutes in, I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Which is, you have a lot of overlapping dialogue. You have these, in this case, what I feel is like these artificial sort of anxiety-inducing scenes where characters are just yelling over each other. We have a CG opening. We remember the CG opening of Uncut Gems. We're going into the stone that Adam Sandler has, and here we have a literal birthing of to the ping pong ball. We have a score that even sounds like Uncut Gems. It's like all these beats that I'm like, man, this is just so. I've seen this movie before. I've seen it 2 times now, and I think the difference between, and I'm not trying to compare these films, don't get me wrong, what I got out of Benny Safdie's The Smashing Machine is what I wanted out of this, which is that film has those elements. It has the naturalistic dialogue. It has the handheld photography. It has, it has these characters you're not totally sure of, but it has heart to it. I actually got real emotion out of that film. Now The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's character in that film, he's not like a deplorable character like any of these. That's not a problem. My point is that there's taking those elements and making it something very heartfelt, very, very honest, very like, wow, I actually really feel something with these characters. I don't really feel anything with these characters here. We go off on these side tangents, and you could say, well, that's the point. We're going so far away from the actual goal that we're going, and that's fine. But when you're running at 2.5 hours, and we have this whole side plot about a dog going missing. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? We have we get. there's no surprises in the film. There's nothing. I've seen Good Times. I've seen Good Times. Seen Uncut Gems. It's almost like, okay, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. Okay, we have to have the arbitrary scene where they're all yelling at each other. We have these side characters where I'm like, why are we even focusing on this? We have this whole side character of this girl that he's involved with, and she's doing her own thing. I'm like, what does that do with anything? And listen. Everyone does a good job. Everyone is great at playing dress up. That's fine. They all look like they're from the period. It's cool to see Abel Ferrara have a small role in this. Kevin O'Leary, or is it Kevin Leary or Kevin O'Leary? What's his name? From Shark Tank. I don't know his name. He's good in the film. Cool to see Sandra Bernhardt in the film. She has a small role. And that's all fine. But to me, I'm like, I walked out of the film and I'm like, man, I could have, if you had told me, okay, a Safdie Brothers movie, here's the plot. Imagine the movie. This is exactly what it would be. It just, I don't want to be a jerk about it. But man, I'm just 20 minutes in when the movie just totally played it showed its whole hand. I'm like, is this what we're doing? Am I going to be here for another 2 hours? Is this what we're doing? I don't want to be a jerk, man. I can appreciate, listen, above all else, both the Safdies have proven they're quality filmmakers. When they're doing their own thing, that's great. People are loving the film. Hey, God bless them, man. I'm just not that. I walked out of the theater. I got nothing out of it. I'm just like, I got no emotion out of it. I got no excitement out of it. I don't care about these characters. I don't need to care about these characters. That's fine. If they're jerks, whatever. But even the whole ending sequence, we have this big kind of back and forth, and I'm like, I know this is going to play out. There's no surprises in this, man. I'm not. It sounds like I'm being more negative on it than I actually am. I'm kind of just on a tangent here.
It just doesn't feel like it's really worthy of Best Picture. It's good enough, but what I was gonna say.
No, it's all good. I kind of just ranted off there.
They didn't give us a reason to care about Marty Mauser. Why do we care about his story?
And to that point, I don't even think we don't even need to like the character. I'm fine with that. I need to be engaged by him.
Definitely doesn't need to be likable to be a good story.
It just felt so repetitive. It just felt like okay, we got it. He's going, like Good Time, like Uncut Gems. He's going so far away from this main goal that it's like, what are you doing? But it's sort of like Robert Pattinson, great lead in that film. Adam Sandler especially, just great lead in that film. Timothy Chalamet, I think, is a solid actor, but I don't think he can be really funny at times. He has like funny quips. He talks really fast. That's great. No, I don't think he has the presence to hold this whole movie around him, this whole cast around him. It just felt like it was going through the motions, and by the end, when the credits came up, I'm like, all right, yeah, I got it. 20 minutes in, there wasn't a single thing that happened in the movie where I said, oh, I didn't see that coming. Mm-hmm. There was one point where I'm like, ooh, that'd be really cool and dark if they did that, which I won't get into. I was about halfway through. I'm like, ooh, if they did that, that'd be really messed up. And then they don't even do that. They don't even commit to it. They have this whole other subplot going around, and I can't say what it is because I'll explore. I'll tell you off camera. Mm-hmm. But man, I'm just like, I was just so disappointed by this, man. This just did nothing for me, and I'm just like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, this is just not. I'm just not curious what he does next. I'm curious what Benny Safdie's going to do next. I hope he does more directed stuff. I know he's going to be in the Odyssey, he's acting in more stuff. But man, if it's one of these things where it's okay, Josh Safdie directed, here's the plot of the movie, think of the movie, you already got in your head. And it didn't do anything for me. Really disappointed with this.
It was giving Catch Me If You Can, and it's been done before plenty of times.
Oh, the DiCaprio movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a good movie. Apparently that movie's not... There are a lot of movies made up.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
But it's still a good story.
It's a good movie, yeah.
I think that's the main point. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure. They should have had Leo in this, but DH him to be like 20, however old he is in the movie. How old is Timothy supposed to be? I don't know if he was supposed to be 30 or 15.
Like 18, I don't know, something like that.
Would have been better if instead of trying to go to Japan for this ping pong event, wanted to go make a chocolate factory. Have some songs, have some dances.
Yeah, why there wasn't enough song and dance in the
strong lack of Oompa Loompas in this. Strong lack of Hugh Grant. I will say. What do you guys say? It's too late. I'm not cutting it out. What do you say? You gotta say it.
It was such a dumb joke. I was gonna say unless you count Odessa Edzione, but I literally just looked down and I was just gonna say whoever was there, and I wasn't actually trying to say that she was.
You're saying Cissy Shortman? That's right. I will say his friend. I don't know. I think he's a first time actor as well. I don't know the guy's name. Luke Manley.
Yeah,
he's very good in the film. I didn't realize this was a first time role. So I will say that Josh Safdie's credit. I think him and Benny are really good with actors, or even first time actors. They can get good performances out of them. And yeah, I know Timothy Chalamet is a good actor and all that. I just don't care. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm going through the motions. You're being funny. You have these quick quips. I don't care. I'm just maybe that's me being a jerk. That's fine. I just wanted more out of the film. It really didn't do anything for me. And but it's not bad. I know I've been kind of dogging on it this whole time, but honestly, it's not bad because it is a well-directed film. It is, the Safdie's, I guess Josh Safdie in this case, really good at keeping up a consistent pace, a consistent excitement. Because I'm not sitting there bored, but I'm also sitting there disinterested. So I am just kind of like, all right, can we move on to the next thing? Can we move on to the next? I'm not, I got it.
And on that note, let's move on to the next
Move on to the next one. All right, man. What do we got here? It's right here. There you go. Talk about that one.
All right. One Battle After Another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. And who else was in this?
A whole cast of characters. Sean Penn.
Benicio del Toro. Regina Hall. I liked her in this. I can't remember the last time I saw her in a movie.
She's gonna be in Scary Movie 6,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love her. She's funny.
Do you think that'll be Oscar nominated?
Nothing's off bets.
No nominations for. Speaking of Marlon Wayans, no nominations for him. How could they?
They really
for the movie him, not for him.
On him.
How could they miss out on him?
Not to be confused with hymns.
What?
Right. All right. Yeah, this movie felt like it was really hyped up, and I was excited to see it when it came out, but it also came out around the same time as Caught Stealing, which is also, it's also a big director. I would also compare them just because they both have really big directors. So because they came out around the same time, I tend to compare the two in my head, and I think that Caught Stealing was way better and definitely should have been nominated for Best Picture. Overall, I was kind of underwhelmed, and I feel like for me this movie was a little bit forgettable, but that's just me. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's about where I'd leave it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's Paul Thomas Anderson is a quality filmmaker. He's a guy who you just see the love and the care in his films. You see just, all his influences, not influences in a way where like a Tarantino is gonna like put in like references and nods, but even like the way he directs like a car chase, like at the end of the film, it feels very like something out of Bullet. Where you watch Bullet with Steve McQueen, it's a lot of like not quite. I don't even know. It's not POV shots, but it's like well, I guess in this case, yeah, POV shots. One time in Bullet, it really wasn't that, but it's like these long sort of takes where it's not a traditional car chase where something always happening, sort of like just these long distances, and then boom, something snaps up on you. Yeah, it's a film I've been sitting on for a couple months now since I've seen it theatrically, and it's a film that I'm kind of leaning towards indifferent on because I think when I initially saw it, my reaction was yeah, that was good, that was pretty good, and then the more I've thought about it, the more I'm just like, it's not fully settling for me. I think there's a lot here. I think Paul Thomas Anderson is a extremely talented filmmaker. He's a very talented writer. But ironically, I think the writing in here, it just doesn't always work for me. It feels like it feels very disjointed. It feels like it's not consistent with what it wants to be. It'll bring up some interesting ideas about, you have these aging revolutionaries, in the French, what is this? The French 75, I think they were called. Mm-hmm. So you have DiCaprio's character, plays character Bob, and he wants, he's being this revolutionary. He has his wife played by Tiana Taylor, who's also very good in the film. She's not in the film a whole lot, but she's very good in it. And at first, there's this sort of like idea of just like they have this baby on the way, and it's sort of like this responsibility of like, do I stay home? He wants to stay home and be like, we gotta take care of this kid. She's like, no, we gotta, we can't be casual about these things. We gotta go out and do it. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting kind of idea, and then they don't really do anything with it. Then they sort of like just jump ahead in time, and even still, you have Bob and you have Benicio del Toro in the film, who his character is being more active about it. He's he's housing a lot of people who are like on the run and stuff, and are like undocumented and all that. And so it's sort of like the idea of is is Bob sincere about these ideas? Does he really care about this? Is it just a thing where this is like, oh, like a passing phase for me? And it's sort of like, well, okay, what does that mean for it to be like a passing thing? Because, we see him, in modern day, and he's still, he's slumming it around. He's like vaping. There's a great part early on where he's talking about, he's in the history class. He's like, oh, and teach him the real history. And it's like, do you really even care about this? Or is it just kind of a facade? Great to see, he's watching the Battle of Algiers at one point, which kind of ties into the film. But it's like some of these things they don't really fully go through with, and it's sort of like, I don't know, it feels. Paul Thomas Anderson, I think, is an incredibly talented writer, but it does feel unfocused. It feels like we have these pockets of the movie where I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing here. We have Sean Penn's character, who I like in the film, but it feels like he's in a completely different movie. He's playing it so goofy. He's playing it so big. And sorry, I'm gonna keep on talking. So you want to come in at any point, just roll over me. But we have this whole subplot with him where, okay, he's the main antagonist. That's fine. He has his own past with somebody in DiCaprio's family, so they go from there. But then, like, halfway through, we introduce this other subplot about this other group. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, they introduce more characters halfway through, and it's like, now we have a new antagonist. It's like we don't even need this. We're getting to the same conclusion anyways. And that's with the pacing as well. So we get to the third act of the film, and the movie's just going on. I'm just like, I don't even feel like we're reaching a real conclusion. So we get to a conclusion with one plot point. Only for that plot point, I got to be vague about it. I can't give spoilers. I can tell you off mic. We then backtrack that plot point just to then resolve it 20 minutes later, where we end the film on that. Which, by the way, the second that scene starts, you see that thing coming a mile away. I don't know if it's supposed to be a surprise or not. I have no idea. But I'm like, what, man? We gotta cut some of this out, man. This feels like just so bloated. And this feels like this is just so unfocused, man. There's a lot that's really good in that. All the best stuff in the film to me is the stuff with DiCaprio and Del Toro. They're great together. I love the scene where they're driving around and they're drinking beers and taking selfies. Like that stuff's great. That stuff's funny. But then we cut back to this nonsense of Sean Penn's character. It's like we have this good energy going, and then it will stop for him to like crack a joke and be like, I'm not gay, It's like, what do we?
Yeah,
what?
it's just absurd.
It's like a Looney Tunes time. It's like his character feels just like he's in like a completely different movie, man. It just didn't work for me at all, man. And the ending of this, I thought was just so clumsy. I was just like, the very end of this film, it's sort of like, I don't know what kind of note we're supposed to leave off of. The way the film kind of insinuates it, it's like, oh, it's a new day. But it's like, man, I can't get into spoilers, but I'm like, man, are these characters just unaware of the movie they were just in? This feels, I won't say tone deaf, but it feels like, man, did someone else write this ending? Because this feels like you're contradicting kind of what you're saying earlier. And it's just a shame because I'm such a Paul Thomas Anderson fan. He only has maybe one film I straight up don't like. And there's like, I'm like, man, I've been really sitting on this, and I've been like, I really want to like this film a lot more, but I found this film so inconsistent and just so clumsy at times.
Mm-hmm. I thought automatically it was going to be good because Paul Thomas Anderson is so highly regarded, but I'm starting to think, because I didn't really like Phantom Thread that much, if I'm being honest, maybe I'm not as big of a fan of him as I thought I would be.
Which is funny that you say that. It's like my favorite of his films. I think that film is brilliant. I think the only one I don't like is Inherent Vice. I've tried to watch that twice, and I know it's an intentionally confusing film based off a I forgot who wrote the novel. I think it's Thomas something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's one I just can't get into. I've tried twice, and I just but even like Hard Eight, I think is okay. Boogie Nights, I think is good. I'm not quite as enthusiastic about it, but Magnolia is great. The Master, I think, is like a masterpiece. There Will Be Blood, of course, and it's just like, it's one where I don't doubt the positive reception of this film, but I do also think that because you have such a highly acclaimed, such an intelligent filmmaker, that it's sort of like the idea of it being a disappointment is sort of like, it's this great auteur director, and it's one that I when I walked out of the theater, I was just like, man, I do want to revisit this in like 5 years. Not immediately. I really want to sit on it because it's a lot of film to take in. And to the film's credit, it's almost 3 hours, and it goes by at a good pace. I do think it is unfocused at times. I do think some of the pacing is a little clumsy, but I will say, I've seen 80-minute movies in 2025 that felt twice as long as this. I saw a horror film that was 90 minutes last year. That movie felt like 3.5 hours, man. So yeah, I wish I could like this more because it's got everything in it, and also that Vista Vision, that photography is just gorgeous, man. You know, I saw some screencasts of this in IMAX. I didn't see this in IMAX, but I'm like, man, this is a gorgeous looking film. I kind of predict this will win Best Picture, and if it did, that's great. You know, I think Paul Thomas Anderson, you know, is overdue. Even though I think he should have won it for The Master, or for Phantom Thread, or maybe not There Will Be Blood because he had No Country that year. But whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, I wish I liked this one more. I'm very much indifferent on this.
I would love to hear the opinion of somebody who really liked it, because I'm curious, like, what they really loved about it and what were the high points.
I think it's basically everybody but us.
Really?
I mean, this is getting unanimous, which is why I also get a little hesitant. If a film gets great reviews, that's one thing. When it gets unanimous 10 out of 10s, you know, the best film of the year, then I get a little hesitant. I do think that there is a symptom of a societal sort of influence of sort of like you gotta wait a couple years before a film really kind of settles. And with film wins Best Picture, it's sort of like, does it hold up or not? It doesn't really matter to me. It's sort of like a film of that moment, but it's sort of like, you know, whatever movie won 5, 6, 7 years ago. Is it a quality film? Two, does it hold up? You know, it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, man, it is a quality film. I just have some big problems with it that I feel like aren't really being talked about. I know it sounds like me kind of down on some of these films. I'm definitely not. There's nothing nominated that I think is outright terrible. I'm just not quite as enthusiastic about some of these, and I don't want to be the guy who's contradictory, be like, oh, everybody else is liking it. I'm not gonna like. I definitely never want to be that guy. Because I want to find something positive in all these films, and I do, and all these films are something I really like about them. But this is one that I was admittedly like, man, I wish I liked that one more. But again, it's got to sit me. There are films that I watched when I first saw Phantom Thread. I was like, it was pretty good, and then I watched it again and again. I'm like, wow, this is what I think is incredibly romantic and touching. You know, I think it's a beautiful film. But you know, it's all about how art ages with you. You know, it's sort of like how your own life gets affected by art. How you see films or you listen to music or you read a book and you see it differently in 5, 10, 15 years later. There's films I thought were terrible the first time I saw it that are now some of my favorites. You know. Anyways, I'm sorry. This is what she has to deal with, is me rambling off all the time on this. I'm sorry, hon. I've been talking.
You have a lot more to say because you have a lot more knowledge and a lot more background knowledge. Kind of stuff.
Was there caffeine in that tea? I have no idea. That's good. It feels like it. I'm wide awake now.
It's chamomile tea, everyone.
Chamomile.
Very calming and sedating.
Yeah, ironically, you know, good thing we didn't give me an energy drink. Good lord. I'm usually not this energetic. Once you get me going, I'm
It's passionate.
But I'm passionate about films I'm indifferent about, which is ironic.
But you can still be passionate about that.
Anyway. Because I don't want to sound like I'm dogging on these films. I'm definitely not. Like this and like Marty Supreme, I'm like, hey, I just wish I liked them more. I don't think either of them were bad.
They weren't bad. They just were a bit lukewarm for me.
Even Frankenstein, which I'll admit I didn't like, I'm like, hey, I wish, you know, there's some good stuff in it. I got another film that might be controversial that I have some, you know, takes on. But whatever. We got to when we get to it. You have anything else to say about One Battle After Another?
No.
Great. Well, not great, but I'm saying, you know, great. All right, next up on the list, I think is, so I'm going to be kind of brief with this one because you haven't seen this one. This is The Secret Agent. This was a film from Brazil. Period piece, takes place in the mid-'70s. Now, who's that lead actor? I really want to I think he may actually be nominated for Best Actor. This main guy who I think is on a TV show or something. Of course, I'm
familiar.
Yeah, he is. Of course, now that I need to find this information, it's not going to be anywhere found because on IMDb the pages aren't there. It's this actor Wagner Moura. What show is he on? I think he's on Narcos. Yeah, he's on Narcos. Oh, okay. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Anyways, I guess I don't remember him in Civil War. Either way. Anyways, this is directed by what's his name? How the hell am I going to say this? Kleber Mendonça Filho. How do you say that name?
Kleber Mendonça Filho.
Sure, why not? He directed a film a couple years ago called Baccaru, which I've always seen the cover of. I haven't seen that film. Actually, shout out to acquaintance of mine, Mike. Says he's going to watch it. And actually, funnily enough, he had Udo Kier, who's in that film, and Udo Kier's in this film. Who recently passed away. I think this might actually be his last film. I don't know, but Udo Kier's great. R.I.P. to him. But yeah, Secret Agent, man. So we have this period piece in the mid '70s. We have him, and I don't want to get too much into the plot of this film because one of the things that I really liked about the film is it really takes its time with the plot. When I watched the trailer for this, it looked more of a traditional crime film, and I was like, okay, I'm on board with that. Cool. But the way this film is structured, the way that even the tone kind of bounces here and there, it really, I just found it to be so engaging. And the funny thing is, when I first walked out of the film, I was kind of lukewarm on it. I was like, it was okay, because I wasn't in love with it, and I kind of sat on it more. I was thinking about more scenes. There's just some individual, like, just great scenes in the film. Like the opening of this film, I loved. That's one of the best sequences of the year when he's pulling up to this gas station. You just feel the heat. There's a dead body just in the sun with a piece of cardboard all over him. There's flies around. The police car shows up. Doesn't even care about the body. Goes away. It's like these bleak but like comical moments. And as it goes along, there's this theme of him wanting to this kid wanting to see Jaws and how that kind of affects sort of the characters in the movie. They're out by the cinema. So you see the marquees of like King Kong with Jessica Lange and Jeff Bridges and the films set near cinema or like that. It's great, and how that kind of ties into the main story, not like in a literal sense, but more so kind of like metaphorically about there's a whole thing at the end about where Jaws comes into it anyways. But yeah, the film itself, it's got this really, I don't even want to say playful tone, because it's really not that, because the film it's very serious, but then you'll have these sort of lighter moments. Like there's one sequence in a park that even now I don't totally know how to feel about it, which I think maybe visually it's just so out there and strange. I remember sitting in the theater, I'm just like, man, I don't know what we're doing here. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, it does kind of fit with the tone of the rest of the film. And then the violence as well, I think. There's not a whole lot of violence in the movie, but it's brutal and it's matter of fact without being grotesque, without reveling in it. Like characters get shot and you really feel the impact of the bullets. I should also say this, I don't know this other actor's name. I do apologize. I'm not going to bother trying to look it up now. He plays the one who becomes more of a central character in the third act, or maybe in the second half, I would say. And he's fantastic in the film. I don't know who that actor is. I've never seen him before. He's fantastic in the film. This is just such a fun, enjoyable, a dark kind of film. And my only real complaint with the film is I think there's some time jumping that I don't think totally worked for me. It works at the end in terms of the resolution, where we learn some stuff that happened, that when I was first watching it, I think it did the period piece so well in the 70s. When we jump to contemporary day, where you have these two, I forgot what they were, these two girls, they were doing research on something. I apologize, I'm going off memory here, so if I'm getting this wrong, don't hate me. But they were doing research on it. They're looking at this case. And at first I was like, I don't really know how to feel about this. But then when it wraps up, I'm like, oh, okay. I think it's all actually kind of tied together. Also, the soundtrack for the film as well, I think is really solid as well. Greatly shot. It's one that I've had some acquaintances say they loved, and I think that's great. And I don't know if I'm quite there at loving it yet, but man, this is a cool film that I really did like a lot. And man, that lead actor, I forgot his name, but man, he is, to me, I mean, it was one of the best performances of the year. It's sort of like if him or like Ethan Hawke won, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. If either one of them won, it'd be like, man, that's great. They give fantastic performances. They have the whole movie on their shoulders. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really like this film. It's one that I know Criterion's already announced they're going to be putting out. I'm definitely going to be picking it up because I want to rewatch it a couple of years, because this didn't make my 50 favorites of 2025. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, I probably could have made it, honestly. But I had so many films on that list, I'm like, man, I don't want to exclude some of these. Some of these are just so great that I can't leave them off. But just solid film. Really liked it overall.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Not unless I spoil the ending right now. No, I'm just kidding. All right, we'll move on from there because... oh my gosh. All right. We got, how many more films to talk about? I think we got a couple, three more.
Just one or two.
We got two more to talk. You're looking at
the wrong list.
I'm looking at the wrong list. We got three more to talk about. All right.
Two.
No, we got three more. We got that one and that one and that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know you're dying to get out of here. I wonder, do you regret this yet?
No, I'm loving it.
Good Lord. Can I spell the title of the film? Why don't you introduce the film while I try to figure out how to spell it?
We're talking about Sentimental Value. Wow. Can you pronounce the original title? Because I definitely
Holy
can't.
moly. Affectionverity? Sure.
So yeah, I think that Dan had a slightly higher opinion of this than I did, because I thought it was well done, but it didn't really hit me emotionally like I thought it would, especially with the subject matter, but I still think that they did a good job with it, and it was really well written. The pacing was good. I actually appreciated it visually. I'm not sure if a lot of people would really say that, but there was something about it like that was kind of muted, but also like colorful, if
That's a
that
good
makes
point.
sense. I enjoyed that. All the performances were really great. I've been really enjoying Elle Fanning in a lot of stuff recently. I saw her in a show that I watched recently. It was called All Her Fault, I
You
believe.
call yourself an Elle Fanning fan. You didn't even see the critically acclaimed Predator Badlands,
What is that?
the fifth Predator movie. Fourth? No, yeah, fifth.
Oh, I think I remember you showing me that trailer. Or
No, I
something.
definitely not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, she's in the Predator. No, she's not in the Predator movie. That's a different kind of movie.
I think my favorite part actually of this movie was the very beginning where she reads off like an essay that she wrote when she was a child about the house experiencing everything inside of it and like everything that it feels and sees like it's a living thing. And I thought that was really beautiful. They did a really good job kind of portraying difficult relationships with family members. That's pretty much all I can say about it. I thought it was pretty good. I would agree with the score here, 7.8 out of 10.
Interesting. I should also mention this, directed by Joachim Trier, who his last film was The Worst Person in the World. Also with I don't know how to say the last name, Renee Reinziv, or how do you say that last name? I probably should look it up. Renee. That makes more sense.
Something like that.
I think I'm pronouncing them like 10 different ways. I could just look these up, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but The Worst Person in the World is very good. Very similar tone, I would say.
He also did like Oslo, August 31st. I haven't seen his older stuff. I've seen just those three films. And yeah, I mean, this is probably my favorite of the Best Picture nominees. I'm definitely higher on this. I love this film. I think this is just an incredibly mature. I've talked about this on a couple episodes ago on Cozy Corner, but so I'm not going to try to repeat too many of the same points. But an incredibly mature film about this strained family. And what I like about it is that even at the end of the film, there's not this feeling of everything is resolved and these feelings aren't going away, because these feelings aren't going to be there, but it's about how you deal with it, and as well the architecture of one's memories. So you have this whole opening sequence. You have this this narration of just the memories that get that get hidden inside the walls of a house. Sort of like the space that a house feels and the emotions that run through it. And then coming to terms with some unaired grievances in your past through the power of film. You have Stellan Skarsgård's character, who's a renowned filmmaker, and he wants to do. He has the script that he tries to give to his daughter. He wants her to star in it. She's an acclaimed actress in her own right. She's at the beginning of the film. She is doing this play, and you think it subverts expectations in its own right, and it's about using this. I don't give too much away about it, because I think one of the strongest sequences in the film is when her character Nora, who I actually got to say the sister as well, played by Inga Ibsdottir Lilias, who plays character Agnes. They have just a terrific scene in the film. They sort of talk about their relationship with their father and each other. In terms of the script, there's like one line of dialogue that it really kind of sums it all up. If my only real complaint on the film, it's not really a complaint. I think Elle Fanning I don't know if she's either miscast or her performance isn't well directed. I think she's a little too wide-eyed in the film. She's an actress, and in the film as well. She happens to see one of Stellan Skarsgård's films. She's like, man, I really want to work with this director. And I think, and she has her own understanding of the story. She realizes that he must do it in English. She's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Her performance is the only one that I felt like she's a little too wide-eyed, a little too, I don't know, some of the dialogue delivery was just not working for me. I don't think she's bad in the film. I don't know if it's just her performance or being miscast. I don't know, 'cause I don't think she's a bad actress. I just was like, man, something is not working about this performance for me. But yeah, just an incredibly mature film. The soundtrack as well, I think, is great. Just some of the songs they play in the film. There was one of the songs I mentioned recently. I can't remember the name of it, but they also played it in Dead Man's Wire, the Gus Van Sant film that just came out. And I'm like, man, that just hits. When I heard that in Dead Man's Wire, I'm gave me chills all over again. I'm like, man, this is a great song to use for these 70s films. Well, definitely set in the 70s. I think it's a song from the 70s. Whatever. I think 70s. Yeah, I just love the film, which was funny because when I first watched Worst Person in the World, I liked it a lot, and I watched it again, and I went down on it a lot. I was like, it's just not totally grabbed me. And so I'd seen this film once, and I loved it. I was like, man, this is just great. And I was cautious about watching it again because I'm like, man, is this gonna hit? Is it gonna affect me as it does the second time? And it did in its own unique way. Obviously, the emotional beats I know are going to happen, and X, Y, and Z. But even when we get to that ending, that final shot, and the credits come up, I'm just like, man, that just totally worked for me. It's what I'm rooting for. I love the film. It's just a highlight of the year overall. I think it's just incredibly mature, incredibly thoughtful, emotional film. Man, I just love it. I love the film. I got not much negative to say about it, if anything.
Yeah, I would support this. Like, if it won Best Picture, I'd be like, okay, yeah.
It'd be cool if he's making a film about a chocolate factory, and it starred Willy Wonka.
I think that this film would have benefited from more Oompa Loompas.
I think a lot of films would have benefited from Oompa Loompas. You know what film didn't benefit from Oompa Loompas was Snow White. That didn't do very well, I don't think.
No.
Financially or critically.
That was hard to watch.
The critically acclaimed box office smash with, who is it? Rachel Zegler?
Yeah.
And Gal Gadot, two of America's sweethearts. People just love them.
I wanted to see it. I saw it by myself. You didn't want to come see it with me.
I think I was busy that day.
You're a Snow White hater.
Yeah. I got nothing. We've been recording this for an hour. I'm like running out of jokes.
I'm ready for bed.
Let's talk about these last two films from, did I introduce that one? Or was that you?
I don't know.
Oh, I think.
I don't know.
Yes, you did this.
Yes.
So, talking about. Up next, got two more films left. Talking about these films. If you guys have some hot takes, oh my gosh, you better put on a jacket. Wait, you better take off your jacket. Ryan Coogler's directed new film, Sinners. Ryan Coogler, of course, did Fruitvale Station, Black Panther. I think he did Black Panther 2 as well. I don't know about that. He did the first Creed. And Sinners takes place in 1930s. Where was this in? I don't remember what state this is in. Georgia? Maybe? I don't know.
They were picking cotton in it, weren't they?
Well, I'm talking about the state, not the,
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the climate.
Yeah, the 1930s, in Mississippi, I'm sorry, in the South anyway. So we have Michael B. Jordan's playing these dual roles of Smoke and Stack. They are, they're kind of going, they're want to start this club in a very kind of, this area that's taken over by the KKK. There's very, a lot of racial prejudice going on there. There's a lot of apprehension about them being there. And even when they get the club, they want to have it, just so that they can enjoy the music and dance and drink and have fun. But, oh my gosh, there's vampires. And you could say, hey, that's a spoiler. Well, it probably would be more interesting if they didn't spoil it, because the film is what it is. Man, listen, I think Ryan Coogler is a solid director. I don't think he's a good writer. I have yet to see a film for this where I go, man, that was really good writing. Because boy, oh boy, I'm not going to dog in the film, because I think there's a lot that is really good in the film, and I'll definitely put that in the forefront. But man, Sinners to me is like a total dud. I'm like dumbfounded, and I don't want to be a jerk. Everyone loves it, and I'm not going to be that guy, so I'm not going to dog on it. I got a lot of issues with the film. I think the writing is just terrible. I think the pacing is a nightmare. I think that there's clumsy dialogue. There's clumsy jokes. The film ends about 10 times, and I'm like, man, what are we doing here? This feels like a bunch of different ideas clumsily put together. But I do also want to say the positives on this, but also, Marissa, I want to let you speak about the film as well, because I think you might be higher on this than I am.
No, not much higher. I remember we finished watching it. We saw it in IMAX, which was pretty cool, I will say. If you're gonna see it, I think it's worth seeing it in IMAX, because visually there was a lot of parts where I was like blown away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I thought it was really beautiful and really well done, and like good cinematography and things like that. So it's enjoyable in that aspect. But overall, I would describe it as a pretty piece of crap. It's like it's beautiful, and they dressed it up really nice, and that's all great, and the music is nice too, but there's no substance. Like the plot, the writing, the dialogue, it's all pretty rough in my opinion, and that's just in my opinion. I would,
You're saying that's a fact.
I wouldn't say that, if somebody likes this, I'm not going to say they're wrong. I don't think it deserves as much praise as it's getting. I also want to say I feel like you could probably watch From Dusk Till Dawn. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd probably get a better experience.
I mean, this
out of
shit's
that
this
one.
shit's from dusk till yawn. I mean, this is nuts.
Yeah.
You know, and I still like joke, by the way. So yeah, I mean, the thing with the film is that I think I think I'll disagree though with the substance parts. I think there is actually a lot of interesting ideas in the film. I just don't think they mesh well. I think by making this a horror film is where it kind of loses. It's partially where it loses me. When you get this ridiculous stuff with the vampires, to me, I've talked about I just have so disinterested in contemporary horror. Because I will say the first act, I would say, is pretty strong. I like the setup a lot. There's I really like the scene where they're, you know, where I don't know if it's smoke or stack, I don't care. One of them's like telling about, hey, if you're going to negotiate, you know, here's how you do it. You know, oh, you got to go up, then you got to go down. And then, okay, the money's great, they're that. And I like the idea of like, okay, they want to make this all black kind of club, but there's apprehension because they're talking about, okay, let's say like a white person comes in and they say that one of us did something. You know, it's their word against ours. All interesting ideas. The idea of like music kind of, you know, it's their, ironically, you know, pun intended, it's their own religion. We have the opening scene, we have this young kid, and it flashes back, and his father's telling him like, don't go out there, you know, if you go, I love that line, if you go, what does he say? He goes, if you go dance with the devil, he might, what does he say? It doesn't matter.
Remember.
I don't know. They're like, I like that part of it, and I like even the visual stuff. I think is good. The contrast. You have this all white church. You have this ripped up guitar, and it's covered in blood. It's like visually that's great. And I echo the sentiment to see it in IMAX because unfortunately I didn't see it in a 1:43 IMAX. That's my bad. I didn't realize it wasn't a 1:43, but because the IMAX photography is gorgeous, and I think one of the things I love hearing Ryan Coogler talk about it because I feel like now with the Odyssey coming out being entirely shot in IMAX, I think not enough filmmakers are using the technology in a way that definitely not that Nolan's doing it, but Ryan Coogler, what he talks about doing 1570 shooting on it in IMAX, it looks fantastic. I gotta say, there's like one shot in particular which is in the trailer, but the camera like panned towards the sky and it's this beautiful orange sky. Some questionable visual effects. Don't get me wrong. But man, I'm just like watching on an IMAX screen. Gorgeous, man! I tell you, it's so gorgeous. And even some of the camera work I think is good. I'm not quite as enamored as the scene everybody talks about with, you know, the sort of the going through time with music. To me, that's a little corny.
It's very corny.
I get the sentiment is there, and God bless him for it. But in the context of the scene, I said, "Oh my gosh, this is just not working for me."
I said, "What movie are we watching?"
It feels like this is like in a different movie. There's just so much that my gosh, man, the movie is just all over the place, and it getting passed as I think it's getting passed as something that it's not. To me, at the end of the day, it's an interesting film that gets enamored by convenience and just dumb plot points, man. Jack O'Connell's in the film, who, you know, he was just in 28 Years Later and 20 Years of the Bone Temple. I think he's good in the film, but it's sort of like they have nothing to do with those characters. Those characters are outside waiting for them, and then when the movie needs somebody to act up and push into the third act, it's like, okay, now the character's going to do this. It doesn't feel like there's any build-up. It's sort of like, well, the movie's, we gotta get to the third act, so we have to have a character conveniently do this. It's like, you know, I'm talking about Get Out. You know, Get Out's a movie where it's like, well, we have to have the third act where the character explains everything, and because how else are they going to figure it out? You know, there's this ridiculous subplot with the KKK where I like how it first started out, even though that seems a little corny, where it's like, you know, hey, if you come by here, we're going to kill you, you know? And the KKK is like, oh, the guy from the Klan is like, oh, the KKK is not around anymore. And that's a good, like, threat of just like, man, we're worried about the Klan coming in. But, oh, my God, it's actually vampires. They should have dropped that. You get this ridiculous third act that is straight up Looney Tunes, man. I mean, the movie's over. The movie's finished. And we have another scene that is just shots for the trailer. Michael B. Jordan aiming a Tommy gun at the camera, and you go, oh, and it's the Avengers moment. It's only the Avengers when the camera pans around and all the Avengers are posing. The Hulk is roaring, and Black Widow is firing her gun, and Hawkeye's aiming his arrow. That's the moment. That's the moment where the audience can applaud and go, yeah, Michael B. Jordan, you know, get the racists. It's like, I'm not 5 years old. I wasn't born yesterday. I like a little more subtlety and nuance in the film. This film has no subtlety. It has no nuance. It is so on the surface and it's so on the nose. And any idea that it could have, they don't do anything with it. You have these Irish vampires. You could have, okay, I thought it was gonna be like, okay, these Irish vampires, they've went through their own famine. They could be like, hey, the black people, you're not even like you. They want to kill you. Join us. You're one of us now. That's an idea they don't even do anything with. I'm like, why even have them in the movie at all at that point? The film is just it's not terrible, but boy oh boy, this script is just nonsense. And I'm not gonna sit here and rant all day. I have so much more to say about it. I mean, I'm like dumbfounded by the clumsiness of the movie. Haley Steinfeld has nothing to do in the movie, man. She's just there. At first, they set her up with like she's gonna be the one that kind of maybe get him in trouble. The things might be kind of questionable. She's the only white one there. But then they do nothing with her character. She has nothing to do. She has this bizarre dialogue at times. There's like random moments of just bizarre, vulgar dialogue that it's like what are we doing? Like it's like do people? Does anyone ever talk like this? This is so clumsy. Man, I would say I get it, but I'm like, man, this is just I really don't want to dog the movie because I really do see all its positives, and I understand why the film has really reached a lot of people. The idea of this marginalized community and how music really affects them, and even a lot of the directing I think is solid. I'm just like, man, I'm not 5 years old. I want subtlety. I want nuance. This film doesn't have it, and people like it. That's great. I'm not gonna talk them out of it, but this film just did nothing for me, and I thought it was a mess. I thought it was a total mess, and I'm just listen, I think Ryan Coogler's a solid director. I think everyone does fine. Characters get lost in the mix. Plot points become incredibly convenient when the film needs it to. And then when it's over, after it ends 5 more times, including an after-credit scene that flashes back to earlier in the film, in case you forgot who the character was, the only character, it's like, boy, oh boy, this just wasn't for me. I just thought this was an absolute mess, and I don't get it.
Well, you definitely cleared up the allegations that you were 5 years old. I don't know.
I don't know, because then I did just give a thumbs up to the SpongeBob movie, so I might actually be 5 years old.
You did see the SpongeBob movie.
I did see the SpongeBob movie by myself with a theater full of families. I was also about 3 or 4 beers in.
And the Wonka movie.
Oh, I was very hungover for the Wonka
Theater
movie.
Full of families.
Theater full of families and me. Yeah.
Oh, edit that out.
No, it's fine. Anyways, okay. Last one up. What do we got here? There you go. Last one up.
All right. Last we got Train Dreams, which I really enjoyed. Dan did not.
It's not true.
Dan said it sucked.
I said it really sucked.
My opinions are stupid.
Actually, obviously.
Because I'm a woman.
Can I spell the name of the movie?
Straight.
I did. It did in backspace. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Train Dreams was I really loved it. It was so beautiful visually, and it also hit me emotionally pretty hard. I really, really loved it, and yeah, I'm not really sure what else to add, but I just thought it was really well done, and I definitely don't think it's gonna win Best Picture. I'm kind of surprised it's even on there, but yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say. It was just good.
I mean, yeah, well, it's funny because, this is directed by Clint Bentley, who, he did a film a couple years ago called Jockey, which is actually pretty good, and I guess, I don't know...
He did Sing Sing?
No, I think he just wrote it. Yeah, he did the screenplay for that. Sing Sing, I think, is a pretty good film. I like Coleman Domingo a lot. He's become one of my favorite actors. And yeah, Train Dreams is one where, I know I keep saying it, but I think I am kind of indifferent on this, to the point where I saw the film and it didn't really leave much of an impact on me. So when I heard it was getting a lot of strong critical acclaim, I was not surprised, because I think it's an incredibly well-shot film. I think Joel Edgerton's a great lead. I just saw him in another film, The Plague. He's great in that as well. He has a smaller role in that. Clifton Collins Jr. as well is just one of my favorite actors. And all the performances are good. I think Carrie Condon's actually in this film too, or maybe it is Jodie Comer. It is. I get one of them mixed up. One of them's in this movie, and I don't remember who it was. That's gonna drive me nuts now. But all the performances across the board are good. I guess for whatever reason, I just never. I didn't really get a strong. It is Carrie Condon. Okay. Also an F1. I guess I just didn't really get a strong emotional reaction. I was enjoying seeing, Joel Edgerton's character kind of, go from, he's working on the railroad, then he's dealing with some of the immigrants that are working there, and then he's trying to get his family, and all that was good. I was just like, for whatever reason, it just didn't really sit with me. I was one where I was having to like refresh myself. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it did happen. It's an incredibly well shot film. I think it's all handheld photography, and it looks great. Joel Edgerton's great. It just didn't really stick with me overall. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you liked the film more than I did.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really wonderful. If you ever let me back on the show next time, I'm gonna come back with some notes because I'm not good at talking off the rip like this.
And neither am I, because
As you are, you've carried this whole episode.
I'm just trying to remember. Because, I mean, you watch so many films, some films are going to come in and out. And I'm leaning more towards positive on this, even though I'm kind of in the middle on it. But, I mean, incredibly well directed. I can't get really into specifics because I'm trying to remember a lot of it. I remember liking it well enough. I don't know. That's why I was kind of surprised to get nominated for Best Picture because I'm like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. I just wasn't. I didn't have any strong opinions on it.
What was that one with Josh O'Connor where he lost everything to a forest fire? We saw it recently.
He lost everything to a forest fire?
Yeah, or am I getting them mixed up now?
No,
yeah, he's got a trailer, he's got a daughter.
Oh, Rebuilding.
Yeah, Rebuilding.
That's a great film. That's actually a good comparison right there.
Yeah, I was getting them a little mixed up in my mind because I was thinking forest fire, themes of loss, things like that. This is old and that one's new, and I think that would be like a cool like double feature.
It's a lot of the same mood in that film, and Rebuilding as well. Because when you say old, it's like this one. I forgot when this takes place. This is early 20th century, whereas Rebuilding is modern day, it's contemporary day. There's a library that's not open there, but they have Wi-Fi, which is the kind of the crux of a lot of the kid getting education. That's something I liked a lot. I actually would say I love that film. And yeah, Train Dreams is one that just a lot of talent here. I get why people are loving it. I don't know. I just didn't sit with me, and it wasn't one that I really thought of admittedly a whole lot after when I watched it. And I'm kind of I don't have a whole lot to say about it, truthfully. I feel bad because it's well made. I just don't have as much to say about it.
Mm-hmm. I remember that it hit me a lot emotionally. I don't know how personal we can get on here, but it's about a couple and they have a child, and it made me think of us and it made me sad. So I was like, please don't die in the fire.
It all worked out, I think. I don't even remember. What was the ending? Actually, I don't say the ending.
No, I won't say the ending.
Do you remember the ending? Because I don't.
I remember.
Damn. We gotta stop. We gotta stop watching all these damn movies.
I have a terrible memory.
It's all right. I was sitting here and I'm like struggling. I'm like, man, I don't want to just filler, but I don't want to say like it was good, it was pretty. I just want to be like, but I don't have a lot to say about it. It's on Netflix. There's that. But it is a good theatrical film. You have the opportunity to see. A lot of those exteriors are just gorgeous. Great shadows set amongst the skies. Great open field photography. It's a good looking film.
I think it has to do with like he gets older and they show him in the future as not like our future, but like
when he
fast forward to when he's old.
See, I thought it was just a natural progression of just him getting older, because then you have Carrie Condon's character who comes into the third act. And to me, that's just like the actual next step for that character rather than like jumping ahead in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I didn't really like the ending from what I remember, but like overall the journey was good.
I love the ending actually, if I could remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you could choose, we'll wrap this up. We've been going for an hour and a half now. What do you think will win, and what, if you could choose?
Can I see the list again?
Yeah, I'm pulling up here.
So what do I think will win?
What do you think will win, and what do you think?
What I pick?
What would you pick?
That's a good question. I think Sinners will win, and I would pick. That's tough. I think I would pick Hamnet. I think that it hit all of the right. It hit all of the categories for me. I think it hit emotionally. It was visually really well done, well written, well acted. I have no criticism really on that. Bugonia is like a very close second. I loved Train Dreams. I just don't really think it's Best Picture worthy for me. I think it deserves to be up there, but not like nominated, but not win.
No, that's fair. No, Hamlet's a great choice. I mean, I'm actually, funnily enough, what I think will win and what I would like to win, I actually don't have the same. I'm kind of predicting one battle after another will win because it's PTA. I think he's sort of like the honorary kind of Oscar thing. And then personally, I mean, it's the one I've said before. I think Sentimental Value is just a film I've thought a lot about. I've replayed a lot of the scenes in my head. I think it's an incredible film, and it'd be cool if it won. I don't think it will, but hey, if it won, great. You know.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Wow, it's been 94 minutes. We can talk about every other category. We can talk about sound design. Who do you think is going to do sound design or visual effects or writing adapted screenplay?
I like going to see the shorts every year. Mm-hmm. That's been really fun. We did that last year. And
yeah,
it's nice.
I'm
looking forward to that.
Last year's wasn't. I'm trying to remember what were last year's shorts. I remember some of the documentaries. I don't really remember much of the other ones. I don't know. It was a year ago. I can barely remember what happened in Train Dreams, let alone happened a year ago.
I'm tired.
Tired too. We're gonna get out of here. Any last words?
Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Marissa. I'm Dan's girlfriend. We out.
We out.